Today, we're going to be talking about how to ask your ex out on a date. And we're also going to be talking about how to avoid some common mistakes that some people make when asking their ex out on a date. But first, my name is Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games or hard to get or pretend to be anyone other than who you are, because you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you like what we're doing, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into all of this. So, when it comes to asking your ex out on a date, this is something that you're going to want to do at some point in the process. I mean, after all, I know that a lot of people are coming from different places. Some of you are not in contact with your ex. Some of you are in contact with your ex. Some of you are choosing to not be in contact with your ex because you're doing something like the no contact rule, or hopefully active no contact, which is something that I've pioneered. But eventually at some point you're going to need to take things from, texting to actually talking to your ex and actually getting together for a date. You don't want to have just a digital relationship, I'm guessing, so we want to actually start to meet our ex in person and to actually go out on a date. But how do you ask your ex out on a date? Okay, so a lot of times people will do this in a little bit of the wrong way. Sometimes people will ask their ex out of the blue if they want to get together for, some sort of date or something like that. And there are a lot of reasons why you might do this. Maybe you're not very comfortable or familiar with, normal dating standards, and you just want to, contact somebody and just ask them out. And, sure, it makes sense. You and your ex were close. It makes sense that you might want to do that. But here's the risk in it. You may be reaching out to your ex in a difficult emotional spot, and it may have absolutely nothing to do with you. It might have something to do with you, but it may have absolutely nothing to do with you. If you don't know where your ex is at emotionally, because maybe you haven't been in contact with them for a while, maybe you just don't know how their particular day-to-day is going, or something else in between, just sending a message like, hey, you want to get together and do this thing, it may not necessarily go over too well, because they might be upset at you, they might be holding on to some sort of grudge or hurt towards you for some reason that maybe you're unaware of, or maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they're stressed out about something, and the last thing they want is for another thing to be sliding across their to-do list, which might be, doing something together with you. So what I recommend that people do is that they actually develop a sense of rapport with their ex first. They actually engage in a little bit of conversation just to sense where their ex is at on an emotional level. You can use things to guide your ex towards having a better emotional connection with you. Once the two of you are actually better emotionally connected, that's when you can suggest the idea of getting together and doing something like a date. I wouldn't recommend that you call it a date unless you and your ex are really super close and there is very obvious romantic tension between the two of you. Generally speaking, I'd recommend that you call it a meetup or getting together or something like that. But you want to do this when the two of you are in rapport. The reason for that is because it's going to make a whole lot more sense why you're asking them to get together. It's going to be kind of implied that, because we're connecting so well, because we're having a good time talking, because we're just enjoying this interaction, that getting together for a drink, coffee, whatever, it's going to make a lot of logical sense. So get in rapport first. Don't just send them a message out of the blue. Also, make the ask really casual. Make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. I know that some people, especially people that aren't accustomed to asking their ex out, might get really nervous about this. They might try to, make some sort of official thing, like, do you want to go out on a date with me or something like that. Don't worry about that. Just make it seem like the most casual thing in the world. Like, hey, you free to get coffee on, Thursday at 3 p.m. or whatever time works the best. Just make it as easy and casual as that. Also, make it easy to say yes to. oftentimes, especially women kind of, for better or worse, expect the guy to make a lot of the plans for the dates. And so they may kind of take the back seat, play passive and all of that. And, sure, that totally makes sense in a typical, normal kind of dating situation or circumstance. But this isn't necessarily a normal dating circumstance. For one, you want to get back together with your ex. Your ex may not see things that way right now. Your ex may not intentionally want to get back together with you at this point. So you're going to have to be okay with the idea of taking the initiative. I'm guessing you're probably okay with that if you're watching this video. If you're not okay with it, you may need to kind of feel in a little bit more and be okay with the idea that, okay, I want to get back together with my ex. My ex may not want to get back together with me right now. Therefore, if we're going to get back together, it has to be me taking the initiative, okay? You just may want to sit with that, let that sink in for a little bit. But you also want to make it easy for your ex to say yes, okay? And so, one thing I've noticed through working with some women is that they may tend to ask these questions like, oh, are you free this weekend? Or, oh, do you want to do something on this time? Or something like that. And this can make it difficult to say yes to, because at least in a guy's mind, what he's thinking of is like, okay, now I have to plan when we're going to get together. Now I have to plan what we're going to do. Now I have to plan the time. Now am I going to come pick you up? Are we going to meet there? What sorts of, all of these sorts of logistical planning things. And it becomes much more difficult for him to say yes. So what you want to do is you want to take care of most of the details. Okay, so figure out when, figure out where, figure out what time, and then just suggest like, hey, let's get together for coffee on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Whatever it might be, whatever the details are. At this particular coffee shop, this isn't going to be a big thing. We'll just get together for like an hour or whatever, and just catch up. And that's a whole lot easier to say yes to than, okay, now I have to think about okay, well, are we going to spend time together? What times do I have available? Is it okay? Can I take this time off? Can I arrange that? Is that too early? Is that too late? All of these sorts of things that guys will kind of think about, or at least I used to think about back when I was dating. And so if you can just make it easier for your ex to say yes, they are much more likely to do that. That also built into the fact that it's based off of you asking them when the two of you are already in rapport. It's going to make that much more likely for them to say yes to getting together, yes to meeting up, yes to interacting on a date. Also, again, we talked about not calling it a date, but you want to make sure that the first interaction, at least the first one or two interactions that the two of you have, are focused on you two and the quality of the connection between the two of you. Okay, so this means not necessarily doing anything like laser bowling or rock climbing or watching a movie or things where your focus and attention is on something external, but rather on something that I would call, a boring date, where the focus is simply on the two of you just sitting down, talking, connecting, having an emotional connection with one another, okay? These would typically be things like getting together for a drink or a coffee or an ice cream cone or, going for a walk or, little things like that. Number one, these things are, typically fairly inexpensive, so it's not going to feel uncomfortable for them to spend time with you, knowing that it's only a couple dollars or a couple, euros, pounds, whatever. And also, it's going to feel really low investment. If it's like a big kind of dinner date, then that can sometimes feel like too much. For one thing, if they don't know how the vibe is going to be between the two of you, it can be a little bit intimidating, knowing that you're going to be sitting down at a restaurant, you're going to have to order things, you're going to have to sit through the meal, you're going to have to get the check, and they may kind of be concerned that they might be held hostage in this situation until the check comes and it's paid and all of that. Whereas if it's just a coffee, you order a coffee, you pay a couple bucks, you can sit down and, worst case scenario, if the thing doesn't go very well, it's not a big deal to get up and leave because everything's already been squared away. So, again, if you follow the advice that I give, you're not going to have these really bad experiences like that. But these are things that might be going on in your ex's mind. So you want to think about these things as your as you are asking your ex out on a date. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Anyway, I hope this has helped you out. Once again, my name is Clay. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you want to learn more about how to connect with your ex on an emotional level, check out this playlist over here on advanced relational skills, or you might be interested in this video over here. But once again, this has been Clay. Talk to you next time. Take care.